Hello and welcome to Gangs All Here. My name is Ryan Sampson. That's my guy Frankie Vittorini from U Stadium. On today's episode, Derek Carr to the New York Jets? Really? Out of retirement? We'll discuss on today's episode. Plus, we'll also talk about the rest of the coaching staff that's been hired by Aaron Glenn as he completely overhauled the whole entire coaching staff. We'll talk about that with Brian Costello, and we'll also talk about Breece Hall's future and if he is meant to be here long-term with the New York Jets. Stick around for today's episode. And we're welcomed by our Jets beat writer, Brian Costello, freshly off the Super Bowl, here to talk about the Jets, as always, on Gangs All Here. Kaz, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. Recovering from the Super Bowl, Ryan.
Some late nights there, or were you being a good boy out there, Kaz? Or
no, early mornings.
The
Patriots press availability was at 8 a.m. every day, which meant the 6 a.m. bus from San Francisco because it was in Santa Clara. So yeah, I was up at like 4:45, 5 o'clock. Yeah, early mornings, Frankie, not late nights.
I would have missed those, that's for sure.
He got to witness an all-time halftime performance. The game wasn't that great, but look, Kaz.
Yeah, halftime stinks when you're in the stadium.
Like, yeah, I saw some of the videos.
It's made for TV. Like I saw some people commenting, like people in the stands were like, "Well, it's made for TV." So it's like it's and especially we're in a press box that's sealed. Like you couldn't really hear it because the glass in the press box. So yeah, it's much better for TV for the halftime show.
Look, Kaz, there's a multitude of things I would love to talk to you about today, but I think the first thing Frankie and I have to talk to you about is the quarterback future for the Jets. It's a rumor that's gone around in the last 24 hours a lot amongst Jets fans, and I saw it on WFAN this morning, or Boomer and Gio as well. It's Derek Carr. He's currently in retirement, and this clip is going around from his homegrown podcast with his brother talking about Aaron Glenn, and I'd like to play this sound for you first and then get your reaction on what the heck is going on with this Carr to the Jets rumor.
I love Aaron Glenn.
I love Aaron Glenn.
Good friend.
Great golfer, good friend.
Okay. Love Aaron Glenn. Yep. Okay. I talk to him whenever it's viable. All right. Okay. I love Aaron Glenn. Okay.
It might be viable soon.
Okay.
Your green sweatshirt.
You're wearing green?
Yeah.
Mine was for Christmas tree.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Listen. I love him. But I also love Jet fans. Here's why. Okay.
I can't believe you're saying
this. I checked Cover Zero
fans.
Little deal. I throw this game winner.
Yeah.
Henry Ruggs. Okay. Jet fans, because we helped them get a worse draft pick, donated to Valley Children's Hospital.
Oh, that's cool.
They're like, Derek, I got so many tweets. Thank you so much.
That's cool.
And Valley Children's even was like telling me, we're getting so many New
fantastic.
Jersey and New York calls right now
That's
to
pretty
donate.
awesome. That's pretty
so
awesome.
Jet fans,
well done there.
I love you.
I'll
and
give
thank
you that.
you for helping the kids.
Look, I gotta be honest here. Derek Carr left football last year because of the shoulder injury. Said he couldn't play because it was affecting his throwing ability, and he still had money on the table with the Saints, but he walked away from football. That clip was recent. That's making the rounds now. The Jets obviously need a quarterback, Kaz. Is Derek Carr the answer for the Jets for 2026?
I don't think he's the answer, but I think you have to leave everything on the table, Ryan. I don't think you can rule anything out right now. When is that from? December, I assume?
Yes,
since it's Christmas?
That's from December.
What's the connection? Did anyone figure out what the connection was with Aaron Glenn, like when they crossed paths?
I believe when was Glenn there as the assistant when Carr was there? No, he was defensive coordinator, right?
No, and then Glenn was never with the Raiders, so yeah, I don't know what their connection.
I don't know what the connection is either, to be honest with you. But the fact that he has so much love for him, he still talks to him.
He's still under contract with the Saints.
He's still under contract with the Saints, so the Jets would have to trade with the Saints in order to get Derek Carr, unless Carr and the Saints can somehow negotiate a mutual release. And not to mention the fact Carr still has a no move clause if he were to come back.
Yeah, why would the Saints do that? So it seems like a reach to me. I get the clip, I get the appeal, but it seems like a pretty big reach to me. Like I don't know. He's been away for a year. He was older. I think he was having a good year before he got hurt, right? That last year, but he was kind of in decline. He wouldn't be on the top of my list, but I don't think you can rule it out. Obviously he knows the Jets from 2023, right? Was when they were looking at him. Saleh, I know Robert Saleh really wanted Carr at one point, and then things shifted to Aaron Rodgers. I I approached Derek Carr at a bank of elevators in Indianapolis that year at the combine. When he went to the combine to meet with teams, including the Jets, and we spotted him in a lobby, and I hung out in the lobby, waited for him to go to the elevators, and he was very, very kindly told me he wasn't going to talk to me, but he was a nice guy. So, yeah, look, no, there's no options out there, Ryan. I'm like, oh my God, this is the answer. So everything has to be left on the table, including Derek Carr, but it does not overwhelm me.
Yeah, no, look, Derek Carr last year before with the shoulder injury, he threw for 2,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, completion percentage of 67.7. He is going to be, guys, he's going to be 35 years old on March 28th going into this year. And
yeah, the age thing doesn't bother me as much at quarterback, Ryan, as the year off bothers me.
That's where I'm concerned too.
Yeah, I think Jets fans have seen this before, right? Ryan Khalil is going to come off out of retirement and save the day at center, and he was, he couldn't play anymore. Le'Veon Bell took a year off and come back. He wasn't the same guy when he was with the Jets, and yes, that's not all Adam Gase's fault. He was slower, and football players need to play football. You can get away with a year off if injury, if you're 22, 23, stuff like that. But when you get in your 30s, I think a year away from football is deadly.
Yeah, Kaz, the connection, I'm sure you know this, and Ryan, the connection with Derek Carr and the Jets is with the quarterbacks coach, Bill Musgrave. Yeah, he was Carr's offensive coordinator with the Oakland Raiders in 2015 and 16.
Right, but I still don't understand the Aaron Glenn love, like where that comes from. Do you?
No, I don't. Glenn was coaching the secondary, but Carr came in after.
Yeah, after. Yeah, he didn't come till 2023.
Yeah. But Carr had his
Drew Brees was there the whole time Glenn was there.
Yeah, Carr had his 2 best seasons though in 15 and 16, back-to-back Pro Bowls. He had 12 wins in 16, and he was third in MVP voting.
So you're selling me on 10 years ago, Derek Carr, right now?
Well,
his second, Frankie. That was his second and third season in the
NFL.
Right?
No, I'm with you guys. I don't think it means much, but I mean, Bill Musgrave, you know how some of these old guys are. They 10 years ago is as good as 2 years ago. I'm just saying, like, it's possible that Bill Musgrave and Frank Reich's prototype at quarterback are guys over 6'3".
So I'm going to go get the guy out of retirement to come play for us. It just feels very Philip Rivers-esque.
I think you guys are underplaying it just a tad bit. I think there's more there than maybe we're thinking.
Well, here's what I'll say, though. Like, with Derek Carr, right, it's easier in my opinion, Kaz, I hear you on the taking a year off. I think it's easier for an NFL quarterback to come back if they take a year off, especially how high of a level Derek Carr did play at for a lot of his career. With that being said, it was a pretty significant shoulder injury to force him not play football. So if that's supposed to be magically healed now and he's supposed to be playing better, this is not a guy who is light of foot, meaning he is not the most mobile quarterback. So he's going to be a pocket statue quarterback back there. I understand that we all want to praise the Jets' offensive line. They still did give up some pressures. They had a quarterback who held the ball too long. 2 quarterbacks held the ball too long. But I'm just not in the appetizing mood of saying, yeah, Derek Carr, go get him. And I know this sounds crazy. I'd rather go get a Marcus Mariota, go trade for a Jacoby Brissett. If I'm going to trade for a quarterback, go trade for someone that's a little bit younger and can play in current NFL, and that's a Jacoby Brissett. Or even if, like, I know Mac Jones, the 49ers don't want to trade him, but go get someone like that over a Derek Carr who you'd have to convince at 35 years old to come out of retirement and play with this team. Also, why the Jets for Derek Carr? They're not set up for success. I you know what I mean, Kaz? Like, this is not a good team right now.
Yeah, why would he want them? Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to have a lot of options. I don't think people are going to be clamoring for Derek Carr at this point. But yeah, I take Kirk Cousins over Derek Carr in a heartbeat because it's going to cost you money. It's not going to cost you a draft pick. And I've saw him play this year, so yeah, I would have to be sold on Derek Carr pretty hard.
I'll say this about Derek Carr. You guys are correct in the overall assessment. Like, this doesn't make any sense because, or not that doesn't make sense, but the fit isn't as clear cut as it appears to be. But I'll say this, Derek Carr needs to reinvent himself if he wants to get back into football. He needs to go somewhere that's going to give him an opportunity to start and an opportunity that makes sense for him. And if you look at the coaches that he knew and he was successful with, and you look at Frank Reich and that system, he's spoken highly of Garrett Wilson in the past. The guy can play football. I mean, I don't know with his arm now what his injury designation is, but he has over 40,000 passing yards for his career. Every year he's got 25, 26, 27 touchdowns, and half of those. Half of that's in interception. So he's not really throwing that many picks too. Like, I don't know.
I've watched Derek Carr for a long time. He's never going to be that gunslinger that takes chances. He's more of a, like, I'm going to read the defense.
He turned into that later on.
That's what I'm saying. But no, later in his career, he tried not to turn the ball over as much as possible. Like, he's a guy, it has to be perfect for him to throw the ball, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't think the Jets currently have the wide receiver talent or tight end talent to say, yeah, come in here and be a bridge option for our next rookie quarterback that we want to draft, whether it be this year or next year. So I don't understand the Derek Carr hype. I don't understand these rumors, in my opinion. I think it's a stretch.
They're hype? They're hype?
Cause it's everywhere right now.
Oh, Jets fans.
They're desperate, man. They're desperate for quarterback news, and that's ultimately what it's coming down to here with this Derek Carr rumors.
The other part I remember about Derek Carr that was because there was some Monday morning quarterbacking of should they have gotten him instead of Aaron Rodgers, right? So 2024, Saleh gets fired after 5 games. Dennis Allen gets fired a month later with Derek Carr as his quarterback. So I remember I made a point to somebody well, the only other coach that got fired, he was their quarterback for, and he was still healthy when Dennis Allen got fired. He was playing. I don't know how healthy he was playing though. So they weren't good. It's been a while since Derek Carr's been on a good team too. He hasn't been able to carry a team. To Frankie's point, he really needs somewhere with a really good defense, a really good offensive line, and some weapons around them to succeed. I think
that doesn't scream Jets at all. I'm just going to be honest.
No, it's not Jets right now.
Kaz, I was going to ask you, do you think there's any connection or any good relationship there or something that was building when Derek Carr did go and visit the Jets and they went out to dinner and stuff? Is there any connection maybe with the Johnsons? They liked each other to a degree, and maybe
I don't think he met with the Johnsons.
Never?
I would have to root.
Yeah.
I don't think so. He came here in right around this time of year. It was the dead of winter, I remember, and somebody got a picture of them at a restaurant in Summit. And it was Saleh.
And
it was
Joe
Saleh,
Douglas,
Nate
right?
Hackett, Joe Douglas, and maybe another assistant coach. I can't remember if Todd Downing was there maybe or something like that. But I don't think it ever got to the level of him meeting the Johnsons. And they're not the combine. Christopher went to the combine with some, but Woody's never at the combine. So I don't think that happened. Everyone's gone. That was here, Frankie, when he was here. If he did get a good feel.
Yeah, that's the rumors right now. Like I said, the Jets fans are desperate for quarterback news and where this team is going. So they're trying to connect the dots as Bill Musgrave, quarterback coach. He's got it but Bill Musgrave's.
Yeah. Bill Musgrave has coached about 8,000 quarterbacks.
8,000 quarterbacks.
That is true.
I could bring up Joe Flacco's name if we want. Everyone, you want to bring him back?
Flacco.
You could pick a quarterback out of a hat and Bill Musgrave coach.
It's crazy.
But it was his best years, though, is the point.
I understand, but
it was the third in MVP.
Yeah, but he was 24 years old.
25 years old, Frankie.
All right.
Do you want Derek Carr?
No, I don't.
All right, thank you. That's all I wanted to know. With that being said,
who do you want, Frankie? Who do you want?
Who do you want?
I want Jacoby Brissett, Kaz.
My man.
Who do you want, Ryan?
Jacoby Brissett.
You guys are going to trade for Jacoby Brissett, huh?
I don't think Brissett fits what LaFleur is trying to do.
A conditional 5, Kaz, 4.
A conditional 5? Okay.
That can become a
I just can't believe we're giving up a draft pick for Jacoby Brissett in the year 2026.
So 1 year, it's a 1 year, $9 million deal you're absorbing. So, yeah, don't you agree the Jets need a actual viable starting veteran quarterback?
Yes. I'm not sure Jacoby Brissett's that guy.
Really? Threw for over 3,000 yards, has a 67% completion percentage.
I'll say this: throwing for over 3,000 yards if you're playing a lot and throwing a lot isn't really that impressive.
What was the Cardinals' record with Jacoby Brissett?
They had 4 wins last year, right? Or 3 wins last year. I think they went.
Yeah, how many with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback?
Hey, you know what? Might be worth tanking this year for that number 1
Cause
pick.
you know why I want the only reason I want Brissett is I think he gets the ball out. He doesn't overthink in the pocket. He gets some juice behind. He's got some juice back there. I mean, like Trey McBride had one of the best tight end seasons ever. Trey McBride's phenomenal, so I'm not saying that, but maybe he gets Mason Taylor more looks and develops him out a little
He'll
bit.
throw the ball to Garrett Wilson, I'll tell you that much.
It's like these guys we have these quarterbacks we have, they're either afraid to throw the ball, they're semi-retired, they're terrible, or they don't even deserve to be on a football field. At least this guy's none of those things.
Yes.
So.
That's where we're at right now.
Yeah, he was 1-11 as the quarterback of the Cardinals last year. That was followed up.
That's good for
by
the
a
tank.
one.
That's
one,
great
he was
for the
1
tank.
and 4. He was 1 and 4. But why do you need a viable quarterback if you're tanking
true.
though? Then you can have Brady Cook be the quarterback. He was 1 and 4 in 2024. You guys may remember that one win was against the Jets.
Yeah, it was. He had a good game.
Yeah,
that game, actually.
He's never had a winning record as a quarterback. I don't know, guys. I'm not sure I'm buying the Jacoby Brissett.
So you're all on board with Kirk Cousins then?
I'm on board with Kirk Cousins, I think.
I'm fine with Kirk Cousins.
That.
Like, I think Kirk Cousins could be a great veteran for whatever rookie you want to draft this year or next year as well, if you sign him to a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
But also, why would Kirk Cousins want the Jets?
You think he's going to have a lot of options?
I do. He's a quarterback that can still play at a high level.
He'll have a lot. Maybe he'll have a few. Maybe 2, 3.
I don't think he's going to have a lot. Yeah, and you're going to have to pay. Look, he's won the business of the NFL. Kirk Cousins has done better than anybody.
Yes.
In terms of, so you're going to have to pay a lot of money.
He's turned down the Jets in the past, though, so why would he come here now?
He turned down the Jets, because the Vikings were going to guarantee his entire contract. And I don't think he's going to. I think the Jets would probably have to pay a little Jets tax to get him. You're going to have to pay a little more, but I don't know. I think he's at a different phase in his career. I think that was just about the Vikings felt like a better fit for him in terms of what they were offering.
I think Kirk Cousins,
contract-wise.
guys, I do like the thought. Sorry to cut you off, guys. I do like the thought of Cousins. I'll say this, though. I think Cousins is going to fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
Very
close.
soon. Like, I think if you start him, he either will get hurt or he's completely – they thought he was finished a few years ago, so just throwing that out there. But
Yeah, but I don't think if we're talking anybody in their 30s, Frankie, you're probably that's probably the case, right?
Yeah, even Brissett.
Yeah,
he's not young.
Yeah, and Derek Carr, you're certainly talking about that. Marcus Mariota, if you want to throw him in the conversation too, I think that's the same. Anyone who's in their 30s now, the injury risk is high.
I will say this with the Jets, if they did want to go the expensive route of signing Kirk Cousins, because you are going to probably have to pay a Jets tax, on top of the Aaron Rodgers $35 million dead cap, we expect the Jets to also cut Justin Fields. If they post June 1st cut him, they'll save $10 million on the cap, but they will absorb a $13 million dead cap hit. So that's
$10 million. I think it's $1 million. I think, Brian.
I'm seeing on over the cap dead money.
I thought it was $1.
I see $13 million.
They saved $1 million. I thought they said, post June 1 you're going. Okay, gotcha.
Because they'll say
I was doing it pre June 1.
Yeah,
June 1,
if they do post June 1 and designate him that, they'll have a $13 million dead cap, but they'll save $10 million on the cap itself to boost them up to $93 million in cap space.
I don't think you really need to do. They have enough cap space. Like I would just eat it now and be clean of everything in 2027.
Yeah, that probably makes sense.
All right, let me throw this one at you guys because I've been thinking about this. All these options are uninspiring, correct? With quarterback, we could all agree on that. What if you just keep Justin Fields?
You're the second person that said that. I saw something on ESPN yesterday that was making the rounds that someone wrote. I forgive me. I don't know who wrote it. They said bring back Justin Fields and run it back for another year. You will tank for the number 1 pick if you bring back Justin Fields. I'm just telling you right now. It'll be a disaster.
Do you want to know my actual opinion on that?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to give you the PC answer?
Sure, either way.
Okay, I'll give you my actual opinion. Not that I wasn't anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't want Justin Fields anywhere near this locker room because I don't think Justin Fields loves football, and I really don't think he's a competitor to that degree. I hate crapping on him, but we said it, and I don't know him personally. Seems like a great guy to an extent, but he didn't even want to play in the Pro Bowl. He didn't want to play at the end of the season. He didn't want to play in the Pro Bowl, right? I wouldn't even use that as an example. I would use the Kaz
in the locker room
Yeah, that was
asking
another
him after he
thing.
got benched and he doesn't want to talk
There
to
you
them.
go.
That more is an example of who are you as a leader and who are you as a player. And
Well, I thought the worst answer was when someone asked him, "What if they have a wildcat package for you?" He was like,
Yeah.
"Well, that leads to like soft tissue." He's like, that was a horrible answer, and yeah, that was the one I was like, "Oh boy," that's tough. So yeah, I hear you, but I'm just throwing it out there because I think the Jets are probably sitting around a room right now having this conversation, and it's probably getting thrown out there. Like, what if, well, we got a new coordinator. I don't think he fits Frank Reich at all. That's the other part of this.
No.
Like, he doesn't seem to fit, but like, the new coaches, could they get through to him? I don't know. Could they tap into whatever happened against Pittsburgh and make it happen more than 1 week?
Yeah. Kaz, we just did an episode. We just did some content for how to fix the Jets. We just did a whole thing on it. And the common theme we came up with was we just want guys that love football and want to compete. I think that's what this locker room needs. I think to what Harrison Phillips said, whether that's true or not, who knows, but saying that he came into a team where it seems like it was cancerous or whatever he called it, I kind of get that vibe from my perspective as a fan, just looking from the outside in and talking about this team and doing content around them. I kind of get that feeling too. Like, I don't think these guys love football and they're not competitive.
You're nuts. You're nuts. I mean, you got
compared to
Justin
other teams,
Fields,
though, Kaz, like if you line up the Jets,
but it's hard to love football when you're 0-7. Like
that's true.
It's hard to love football. Like you can't compare it to somewhere where they're winning a lot of games. So like, I don't blame guys who it gets tough to keep going. Like, and that's like, I talked to Harrison Phillips about this and what he meant. Because I went for him to clarify what he meant that day. And he was like, I'm not talking about the guys in the locker room being bad guys. He's like, we have great guys in the locker room. The one thing Saleh and Douglas did really well was identify good people and bring them into the organization. Aaron Glenn has even said that himself. But so it's not that. It's just that there's this malaise inside the Jets that happens from everyone in the building, not just players, not just coaches, everyone. When things start going wrong, it's like, oh my God, it's another one of these seasons. How much more of this can we take? And I think when you have guys like Quinn and Williams is the prime example last year, right? It was like, yeah, I've had enough. Like, I need out of here. And I think Quincy was affected by it a lot last year too. I thought he showed some signs of it. You just see these guys who have been here 5 years, 6 years, that it's just like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. And I don't think it's that they don't love football. I just think it just wears on you. The losing year after year after year wears on you. But the only solution is to win. And that's it's chicken or the egg type of thing,
No, you're probably right. I was probably a little bit misspoken there saying that.
I think when you see guys, Frankie, Vernon Golston didn't love football.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that's why Vernon Golston couldn't get on the field.
Yeah.
I think when you see guys who can't get on the field, that's when coaches go, this guy doesn't really love football. I think it's hard for us to know that for sure. But like, Vernon, I always sense that. Like, he just didn't love football. And that's why he didn't work out. And that's like sometimes these high draft picks, what happens with them. You can go through busts. That's what happens a lot. Like, the busts have talent. The draft mistakes usually the person. So
yeah, you're right.
But I don't think the Jets have a problem in that area. And every like, I think I made a joke about John Harbaugh saying that a few weeks ago on here, right? Like, because that's like someone asked, like, what are you looking for? Guys who love football. Like, that's what every coach says.
Yeah.
I just can't see a guy like Justin Fields returning to this team.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. But like, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, I know. I know. It's just
does the owner say that at some point? Although he didn't seem like a fan of him in the middle of the season, did he?
Yeah, he didn't seem like a fan of him at all.
There's one option we didn't touch on though,
It's putrid
guys.
football though from Justin Fields. Like, I can't watch him play. He holds the ball too long. He gets his wide receivers killed. He doesn't hit guys open when they're supposed to be. He's very inaccurate, wildly. And he doesn't run the ball like you would hope if you wanted to run a read option as much as you want. And I don't think he's good at doing the read option, to be honest with you. He was a lot of missed opportunities last year with that offense. So I think you got to change this offense. And Frank Reich's going to change it. I know they're going to do a lot of RPOs because that's what he did with Carson Wentz. But like, I would stay far away from this, whatever you want to call it, project of Justin Fields. I would just cut bait and call it a day with that experiment. It was a 1-year failed experiment with Justin Fields.
Do you guys think, or Kaz, do you think he's what's the percentage chance that he's cut? What is like 70%, something like that?
That Justin Fields is cut?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's 90. I know. I think it's. I mean, I'd be shocked if he wasn't cut. I
Really?
think it's
Okay.
90%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll leave it 10%. You know, you never know type of thing. But yeah, I think it's 90%.
Yeah.
With that being said, Kaz, we talked about coordinators and coaches. The Jets finally have filled out most of their staff, if not all of their staff now. Some notable names here, and I wanted to get your takeaways on some of these coaches that have been hired. So now we know that Frank Reich is the offensive coordinator, Brian Duker is the defensive coordinator. They brought back Chris Banjo as the special teams coordinator. To fill out the rest of the staff, some notable names. Carl Dunbar making his Jets return as defensive line coach, coming over from the Steelers. They also retained Steve Hyden as offensive line coach. Sean Jefferson stays as wide receiver coach. They bring in Seth Ryan, the son of former Jets head coach Rex Ryan, to be the passing game coordinator. They also bring in Bill Musgrave as the quarterbacks coach, Alfredo Roberts as the tight ends coach. And then on the defensive side of the ball, there's some names here: Colin Bauer, Nathaniel Willingham, Ben Rawling, Ronald Booker, Cameron Davis. I mean, what do you think about that's notable from these Jets coaching staff that they filled out, besides what we just talked about there?
Other than Musgrave, the names that have come out recently, actually, offense seems to have more experience than defense. The defensive guys seem to lack experience to me, so that's not always a bad thing. But I think it's notable is that a lot of these guys, one of those guys was came from the UFL. Another guy was assistant outside linebackers coach with the Texans. They've kind of been low level coaches in the NFL if they've been in the NFL. So. This is going to be Aaron Glenn's defense. I think that's pretty evident. He doesn't have a whole lot of experience over there helping him. Chris Harris is probably the most notable, guy back that's going to help him out. Carl Dunbar is experienced, so he's different. And I thought Dunbar was a good coach. He was with the Jets under Rex, helped develop Snacks Harrison. That's probably the most notable part of his time here. And then did a good job in Pittsburgh. They always had a good defensive line. Obviously, they had some good players, but he did a good job. So, yeah, Carl Dunbar is a pretty respected coach. So that stood out to me.
With Dunbar, what I thought was interesting is that he comes from the Steelers. They ran mostly a 3-4 defense, and Dunbar's coached mostly a 3-4 defense. And there's been thought about what the Jets are going to run defensively under Aaron Glenn. Now, he's been multiple in terms of 4-3, 3-4, multiple fronts in Detroit. Could you see the Jets going to a 3-4 defense primarily here coming up this year?
I don't think it's as rooted in primary defense as it used to be, Ryan. Like that used to be a big thing, 3-4-4. I think these teams all do multiple stuff now, and so much of your time you're spent in sub packages with nickels out there. Like think about what the nickelback has become.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How important that position has become. Because they're on the field for so much of the game now. It used to be like a spot thing. So I wouldn't get hung up on 3-4-4-3. I think they're probably going to be multiple up there. The only position that really affects in my mind is like the defensive ends versus outside linebackers. That kind of do they have guys that can play both of those? And I think they do. I think Will and Jermaine probably. I think Will's probably better suited for a 3-4 actually. And then do you play a nose tackle versus playing 3 technique, that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't get too hung up on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. We were talking about this earlier, Kaz. They're going to look at, I think, in the draft, if they want to run a 3-4, some of these 5 techniques are pretty unique. You have the kid out of Alabama, LT Overton, that's somebody that plays literally a 5 tech, like a JFM kind of guy. So they're going to look at that, and then you look at like a Caden McDonald defensive tackle who probably fits a 3-4 because he's a nose guard or a nose tech, nose tackle, versus Peter Woods, who's a defensive tackle in a 4-3. So, I mean, I don't know how much that'll affect it. I think it will a little bit, but to your point, I love the thought of putting Will McDonald as an OLB, as an outside linebacker / edge, and then having a big guy next to him at the 5 tech to kind of alleviate some of that, tackle, that tackle depth there, and then you can get him playing off the tackle or the tight end. So yeah, I like this. I think in Pittsburgh they did run a lot of 3-4. That's their base, but yeah, they have over the years transitioned into hybrid models themselves, which they were always the team that ran the 3-4. But yeah, Dunbar, what he did there with T.J. Watt and Highsmith and those guys up front, Cameron Hayward. I mean, they were one of the best defensive fronts in football for the last 5 years.
I think ultimately, like, the reason why I highlighted the 3-4 defense with Carl Dunbar is just because I wonder how it influences their decision on the draft and like the defensive end pass rushers you're talking about with Arvell Reese, David Bailey, and Ruben Bain, where they might go and just where their thoughts might be at that number 2 spot.
Yeah,
it's just interesting seeing who they hire, and maybe it gives you some clues on where they're going here in the offseason.
And I spoke to Matt Miller from ESPN this morning I'm going to do my newsletter next week, and he was mentioning that I asked him about defensive tackle, and he said this draft has a lot more nose tackles than 3 techniques.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bigger body guys that he sees as nose tackles than your traditional 3 techniques. So maybe that plays into the decision as well.
I think that would be fun. I think they need obviously they need some beef up the middle, help the linebackers out a little bit here. And they need to be better against the run too, just overall. They need to be better as defense overall. One thing I do want to highlight real quick is Seth Ryan. I mean, what do you think about that, Kaz? The fact that he's coming from Detroit.
Yeah.
He's getting promoted pretty much here as the passing game coordinator. It's a good role for him to step up in the next part of his career. And it continues that lineage of Buddy Ryan and Rex Ryan, who both coached with the Jets. And now Seth Ryan gets to join the Jets as well.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I remember Seth running around when Rex was here. And I think I did a story the first year on like Buddy, Rex, and Seth. I have to look that up, like because it was clear Seth was really into football. Rex had 2 sons, but Seth was the one who was really into football, and so it's wild that he's now in Florham Park as a coach. And I actually sat next to Seth on a flight a few years ago from the combine when he was with the Chargers at that point, I think. But he was coming here to get married. Like his girlfriend was still in Jersey, so I sat next to him and talked to him for a while. And he was always just a really nice kid. It's shocking to me that Rex's kid could be a passing game coordinator. Rex must be like beside himself. Not only is he not a defensive coach, he's not even a running coach. He's a freaking passing game coordinator. So, and I'm curious to see. I got a feeling those Get Up episodes on Monday mornings are going to be very kind to the Jets now.
Well, they're very pro Jets on the Get Up side anyway with Greeny as well.
But Greenberg tends to go into the fatalistic Jets fan thing, and Rex has been known to bang around some Jets coaches through the years. But I got a feeling this year it's going to be, it's not the coaches, it's the players.
Remember when Rex did ask him what he wanted to do on offense? He would answer, attack.
Look, the last piece of news that I do want to highlight, Kaz, is we're recording this on February 12th. February 17th, I believe, is the first day that you can franchise tag players here in the NFL. And the big question remains about Breece Hall's future with the Jets. Will they use the franchise tag on him on February 17th or during that period before free agency starts? What are your senses on how the Jets are going to attack Breece Hall? And will they let him walk, or do you think they might use the franchise tag on him?
Yeah, I don't have a good sense right now. I think we'll know more at the combine. They're not going to do anything February 17th. Nobody does it then. What's the back end of that deadline, Ryan? You know?
I believe it is March
1st?
March 3rd, I believe. Let me double check.
March 3rd?
Yes, March 3rd.
So March 3rd will be,
yeah,
March 3rd will be the day that the franchise tags get handed out, probably for the most part. So I think we'll know more from the combine. We'll probably get some vibes there, and agents will be talking. So I think we'll know a little bit more at the combine in 2 weeks. But right now, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're thinking there, and it's a fascinating decision to me. It's not an easy one.
Would you bring him back?
Man, I don't remember ever going back and forth on something more than I've gone back and forth on Breece. I'm really torn because I love him as a player, but I get the running back thing, and I have some maturity questions with Breece. We talk about like stuff in the locker room. Guys, it floored me that Breece wasn't the MVP of this team. Floored me. Like that Isaiah Williams was voted the MVP of the team. No offense to Isaiah Williams, but for someone on special teams to be get that, and you have a 1,000-yard rusher who at that point had played every game. He sat out the last game of the season, but he played every game. He won the game in Cincinnati. He was clearly their best player on offense or defense. I don't think that's debatable. And he didn't get MVP, voted on by his teammates. Like that shouted to me like, there's something in the locker room there where he doesn't, he's not getting the respect of his teammates. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that completely, but it makes me think. So I go back and forth. I really love the player. I think that's been clear. I've defended him when the Braylon Allen Fest was going on last year. I was pretty staunch in the Breece category, but I can see arguments for both sides here. Where are you guys?
Obviously, I want to keep him, but I was telling Ryan, I would franchise tag him, but the problem with the franchise tag is I think it's going to leave a bad taste in his mouth. I don't think he's going to be happy playing the whole year. It's like what Saquon went through with the Giants. I just think it's the inevitable. If you franchise tag him, he's going to be gone. And what's the point of keeping him just for 1 year in sort of this rebuild year? So I am kind of leaning towards just let him go, man. Kind of let him go. The problem is, Kaz, this draft class at running back, in my opinion, is not that strong. I'm not loving this class. There's guys at the top I really love.
What about free agency?
We spoke about it. The problem with a guy like with Kenneth Walker or
Travis
Etienne is they're always hurt too. Like they're in and out of the lineup all the time. Kenneth Walker's never healthy for more than like 5 games in a row, and same thing with Etienne. I don't know. I would. There's one running back we didn't talk about him on our show, but I'll talk about him a bunch. I think with you guys, but because if we bring him up, I love Jadarian Price, the other Notre Dame back. I think he's
very good.
Very good. I think that is a perfect fit for us. He's like Nick Chubb. He can be an every down back. We're not going to get as much, home run stuff like you will with Breece necessarily.
He's pretty much. He's a kick returner.
Yeah, he is, Kaz. Yeah.
He's. I mean, I watch a lot of him. I watch a lot of Notre Dame, and he's very, very good. So yeah, I would sign up for that.
Yeah, he's my favorite running back, and I like him better than Jeremiah Love, honestly, as an NFL running back.
Come on.
No, as an NFL.
You like him better than Jeremiah Love?
The only reason I do is I don't Jeremiah Love's frame. I don't know if he's that every down guy. Jeremiah Love, like he comps to like Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit, so I get that element to his game, but. I just think Jadarian Price, there's no way if he's healthy, he's not going to be able to be a 3-down back in the NFL. Jeremiah Love, he might have to go to the right place and be in the right scheme.
I hate when you say that, man. The right place, the right scheme. If you're a great player, you're a great player. Learn how to use him.
Time.
I've argued this so much on this show. The coaches need to be held responsible. If you can't coach a great player and put him in the right spot, that's on you. That's an indictment on you as a coach.
Will Puka Nacua have been successful here?
I hate that argument. He should be successful everywhere.
Ryan.
His talent is undeniable.
Listen, you're not wrong in your assessment, but when you have a coaching staff that's just figuring it out, we don't even know who these coaches are, how they're going to be realistically. This might be a bad staff. Everyone's considering.
So that means you don't take a great player?
No, that means you take a player that's not scheme dependent.
I hate that argument.
Okay.
I hate that argument. Kaz, that's an episode.
Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love's going to be good. He's going to be great. That's
how good do you think he's going to be?
Because
I had this argument about Ashton Genty last year. I didn't think he was as propped up as people thought.
He's better than Ashton Genty.
Okay,
I think he's better than Ashton Genty. I think he could be an All-Pro running back.
Okay,
yeah.
I think Jadarian Price can too. By the way, Jeremiah Love's second in my rankings. If anyone cares, so I don't think I have him like 5th, but whatever.
I'm going to say this.
The big board, the Frankie Big Board.
Frankie Big Board.
It's on my back.
My final part about all this, I would also franchise tag Breece Hall. Give it 1 more year, see what happens. Because I don't think the Jets are going to find an answer at running back in this draft ultimately, because I think they have so many other needs. And when you have the assets already invested in the running back room like they do, just keep it running for 1 more year and see what happens with a new offensive coordinator, because you might be overhauling it all after this upcoming season. That's an episode of Gangs All Here. Cosby, thank you as always for hopping on here and giving us all your analysis. We're looking forward to your coverage as we get ready for the Combine coming up here. The offseason just keeps on rolling, baby, and we're going to keep on rolling here too. Thanks, Cos.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.